As a question, I'm a 64-year-old. Does my daughter-in-law serve me and care for me in my house? I feel very sad and lonely in my home and uncared for. Is it her duty to look after me? I hear these days that it is not a duty for to need to look after in-laws. So to answer the question for the auntie, okay, so if I was to answer the question honestly, in actuality, it's not a right, it's not an obligation on the daughter-in-law to serve her in-laws. Allah Azza wa Jal made it an obligation for her to serve her husband, and that's where her obligation is up to. Because if she was serving her husband and also then taking care of her children, and then she also had to take care of her in-laws, and her in-laws, then where would she get the time and the chance to be able to fulfill the rights of her husband and the rights of her children? And it is sad to hear nonetheless that the auntie mentioned that she feels very sad and lonely. But that duty comes back to the auntie's children. You see, the children of the auntie, like her actual children, would be the ones who are obligated to take care of their mother and to serve her. And no man, no son should ever get to a point where he thinks, I'm too busy to take care of my mum. No, never at all. Awais al-Qarni was a man who gave up coming to the Prophet ﷺ as a Sahabi. I really want you to understand this, please, sisters. Awais al-Qarni was a man who gave up coming to the Prophet ﷺ, and he lost the virtue of becoming a Sahabi, a companion, because he was taking care of his mother. Because he was taking care of his mother. So no man can say, and by the way, the Prophet ﷺ, Awais al-Qarni was virtuous. So virtuous that the Prophet said to Umar, if you meet this man, tell him to make dua for you. So if a man can lose out on becoming a companion of the Prophet ﷺ because he's busy taking care of his mum, then I don't think any man has an excuse to lose out on whatever it is that he might be doing, if it's going to mean, if it allows him to take care of his mother. And what some men do is that because they're busy working, they expect their wives to take care of their mothers and their fathers. I mean, look, if the girl does it, that's amazing. And I don't think a daughter-in-law should have an attitude of, oh, it's not my right, I'm not going to do anything. That's another extreme. Because you want to keep the family ties there, and you want to keep the relationship with your husband good. And sometimes toxicity enters into a relationship when husband and wife are fine, but there's problems with the parents. And sometimes you can take that problem away just by taking an L every now and again. Just basically just biting the bullet. No problem, I'm going to take care of my mother-in-law. I'm going to take care of my father-in-law. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And it's nice. It's just nice. It's just humans, the way we are, is that we should just go out of our way for people. Does that make sense? But if we're talking strictly speaking, does she have to serve her in-laws? No, she doesn't. But the one who has to serve the in-laws is her husband, who is the son of those in-laws. He's the son. That he has to do it. And some men, they're busy working and they just expect their wives to do it. Wallahi, work is not an excuse to not take care of your mother and your father. Mother and father are number one. And the Prophet ﷺ made dua, Jibreel made dua against a person whose parents become old, and he did not earn Jannah through serving his parents. And the Prophet said Ameen to that dua. Jibreel made dua against people, for Allah to punish them, to I can't remember what it was. Was it I think he cursed them or something like that. And the Prophet said Ameen, and the dua was for a man or for a woman, for a person, her parents reached old age, and when their parents reach old age, it's an opportunity to earn Jannah, because taking care of them at their age, putting a smile on their face, it's a means to get Jannah. Like he refused, she refused, they didn't do it. And dua was made against. Jibreel, the best angel, made the dua, and the best human said Ameen. So dua is very, very scary. But just generally speaking, I think there's extremes on both ends. Sometimes in-laws, they force their daughter-in-laws to stuff, and sometimes the daughter-in-laws, wallahi, they could just, it's just nice to just be merciful. You know, you see that your mother-in-law is old, she needs some company, companionship. Just be there for her, you know? Because one day you're going to be that old woman. You know, one day it's going to be you. But of course, you don't do it at the expense of the rights of the husband, the expense of the rights of Allah, the rights of your children, the rights of your, you know, your own body has rights on you. Because some women, they literally just become violated in this situation, you know. And then they're not able to do anything. So I hope that answers the question of the auntie. My heart goes out to the auntie, you know, wallahi, it really breaks my heart to hear that she's lonely and she's sad. And I pray that Allah, He takes that sadness and loneliness away. If I could give an advice to the auntie, if she's here, or anyone else that might be in a similar situation, is that when you find that sadness and that loneliness in the absence of humans, then the best companionship is that of Allah. I swear by Allah. You know, human beings will let you down. Our children will let us down. Our spouses will let us down. Our best friends will let us down. On the Day of Judgment, we will run away from each other. يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ. A man will run from his brother. وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ. He'll run from his own mother and his father. وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَبَنِيهِ. He'll run from his wife and his own child. But the only person, the things that we will not run from is things like the Quran. The Quran will come. The Prophet said, "Iqra'ul Quran." Recite the Quran. It will come to you on the Day of Judgment. Shafi'an li ashabi. It will come to intercede for you. Build a relationship with the Quran. Build a relationship with Allah. Worship Allah. Make lots of dua. Make lots of dhikr. Lots of ibadah. Give your time to seeking knowledge. Maybe in your younger years you weren't able to learn the Quran. Maybe in your younger years you weren't able to learn the Sunnah, the Hadith. You know, fiqh you weren't able to learn. Now it's the time to learn these things. Learn the Arabic language. Occupy your time with khair. Occupy your time with good. You know, because I'll be honest with you, eventually everyone's going to leave us. It's just going to be us inside of our graves. It's just going to be us having to answer those 3 questions. And that's how I try to personally live my life. I try to live my life now, even though I have people and family around me, as if I'm alone. Because really and truly, that's how it's going to be in my grave. And what do I mean when I say I'm alone? I say I don't expect anything from anyone. If someone lets me down, I just think to myself, I wasn't really expecting it anyway. I wasn't expecting you to not let me down. Does that make sense? So one of the things that takes away the sadness from a person is to have a relationship with Allah and to strengthen that relationship. Wallahu a'la wa a'lam. Hope that answers the question.
Assalamu alaikum. I have a question for you. From all of my videos online that you might have seen, which one has been the most life-changing one for you so far? Many people told me that it was the video when we gave da'wah outside the Shisha Cafe.
And I'll leave you with this. The Prophet ﷺ said, a time will come when holding on to my religion, holding on to Islam, will become as difficult as holding on to charcoal. The charcoals that we smoke shisha with. The Prophet said, try and hold on to it. It burns you, let go of it. The Prophet ﷺ said, that's what my religion will become like. Is it not like that today?
Or perhaps you're from those who said it was that lecture that everyone was asking about, the one I did on the issue of death.
Send me back. Please send me back. I'll pray this time. I'll dump that girl this time. I won't play around with the girls no more. No more cigarettes, no more weed, no more watching things online, no more talking to the guys, no more music, no more disrespecting my parents. I will pray. Allah, please send me back. Tell these angels, hold me down for a second. Send me back. Just 2 minutes. Send me back. Oh, let me die with my head on the ground in sajda. Let me die. But Allah said, no. You will not be able to return. They will scream, Rabbi rji'ooni. Send me back, my master, please. But
Or maybe it was one of the other 1,000 plus videos that we have online. Whatever it was, I want to ask you a follow-up question, and that is, I want you to remember and record what life was like before you saw that video, when you were distant from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, when you're thinking of that and remembering that, I want you to be aware that there are many brothers and sisters who are still living life like that, far and distant from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They still haven't seen that one video that's going to help change their life. They haven't seen that one reminder that's going to touch them and bring them out from the darkness of sins to the brightness and the light and the happiness of guidance. But that doesn't mean that there isn't hope for them. They just need to come in contact with that kind of content online. And that's why myself and my team are dedicating the next 3 months, inshallah ta'ala, to flooding the internet with as much content on Tawheed and Sunnah and reminders about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as possible. But the issue is that in order for us to reach those targets, we're limited in terms of the resources that we have. We need to hire more people in our media team. We need to also buy new equipment. Now look, I am going to ask you to support this financially, but I'm not going to ask you for crazy numbers. For us, we don't need that kind of money. We need little money because we have a team that really believes in this. And the proof is in the pudding. If you see what we've done over the last summer, subhanAllah, you can see that the work, it gets done. That money goes where it deserves to be placed. So I'm going to ask you, inshallah ta'ala, because you're a person who's benefited from this YouTube channel. You're a person who's benefited from my video. I want you to be able to give the gift of that video that helped change your life to someone else by donating at the link below. And remember, the Prophet ﷺ said, none of you will truly believe until you love for your brother, by extension your sister, what you love for yourself. And what you love here for them is what guidance, the way you love it for yourself. So please, inshallah ta'ala, give it the link below and let's flood the internet with La ilaha illallah.